Welcome to the Natural Health Podcast, where we bring awareness of sustainable health in the business hustle space. Natural Health Podcast is perfect for the high-performing, business-minded individuals who want to work with their biochemistry to achieve optimal health. It's Friday, which means it's time for friends sharing facts about health, business, and overall success. In today's episode, we'll talk to Amanda Micallef, who will talk about how and why you will do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. Amanda is a strength and mindset coach and a lover of sneakers and Versace. She has worked with numerous clients on their mindset to overcome whatever is holding them back from living their life. Amanda loves training both the physical body and the mind to achieve optimal health. When she's not training, she's thinking about what sneakers to buy next and hanging out with her beautiful friends. Welcome to the Natural Health Podcast, Amanda.
Thanks for having me.
You're most welcome. So what type of sneakers are you going to buy next?
Well, I trained a client today and she had a pretty nice pair of Nike TNs. So I'm thinking maybe once lockdown's done, I may invest in a new, real jazzed up, expensive pair of TNs. But I've got too many pairs. I've got nearly, I reckon, close to 60 pairs of sneakers. So I've just got to, I think I'll just stick with what I got for now. But we'll see. I've got too much.
Beautiful. Where do you keep them all?
Well, when I moved house recently, I actually went and bought this shoe rack. So it was good. It can hold up to 60 pairs. And it's literally just a self-assembly type little metal structure with these fabric kind of shelving. And it's good. And then on the side of it, you can stick more shoes. So it's like perfect if you have a little storage space and you just want to keep everything neat and color-coded, and because I'm OCD, so everything has to be perfect.
So all your shoes are color-coded. It's like white, black, red, and so forth.
Oh, wow. Green. Yep, that's it.
There you go. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, well, let's get into today's podcast. What I wanted to find out from you to start off is what have been the key turning points in your journey to where you are today? Because, I mean, you've been through a lot. You've done a lot in your lifetime. What can you pinpoint any key turning points that got you to where you are and who you are today?
Yeah, so there's been a couple of life slap you in the face moments that, you know, put you in a position where you feel like you've either hit rock bottom or you're backed into a corner that force you to either make a change or fall into a hole. So because I'm such a natural go-getter, my approach to anything is always to want to get better. So at the age of 17, I had a suicide attempt from suffering from anxiety and depression. At such a tender age, being in high school and what have you. So that for me was a massive turning point because luckily I was unsuccessful in my attempt.
So was that year 12 or something?
I think that was year 11 from memory. So the end of year 11 coming into year 12. So so I remember just, I was at work that night and I was rude to a customer because I was just not feeling good within myself. And I hated myself being rude to that person because it's not my nature. And then I said, that's it. Tonight's the night. Tonight's the night. I'm going to end it all. I'm going to end this pain. I'm going to end the bullshit, Anyway, so drove to a beach where my family and I go on holidays, tried to swallow all these pills, alcohol, but I vomited everything up. So the alcohol essentially saved me from having an overdose. And then I woke up in a pool of vomit and I promised myself from that day moving forward that I would dedicate the rest of my life to being the best version of myself. And that's what I've done ever since then. So what I want people to understand listening to this podcast today is that the journey to transformation is lifelong. It's not 3 months. It's not a 6-week or 12-week transformation. It is forever. And to stop treating it like a sprint and to see it as a marathon.
Wow, that's hard. Like that, I can feel that from your heart. That must have been, to even think. There's so many individuals who are listening to this podcast that may have gone through similar things that you're going through, so they can definitely connect to you and they can feel that pain. But it's amazing that now you can look back on it and go, wow, that was my turning point. That was a few years ago, wasn't it?
Well, I'm going to be 35, so you do the math on that. It's
Yeah.
literally half my life ago. You know, it's like a whole other lifetime ago. I was a very different person with a very different set of paradigms and thought processes and confidence level. And I was never an overweight, unattractive child. In fact, I was always popular by social standards, but I had low self-esteem. I always compared myself to others, and I always put the pretty girl on the pedestal, which is such a bad way to go. But when you lack confidence, you naturally push people above you instantly. So I guess I'm at a point now in my life where I've got bulletproof confidence. Nothing really scares me because I know that where there is obstacle, there is room for opportunity. But that took a lot of years to get there. A lot.
Sounds like it 100%. And I mean, you've been through a lot in your life. From what I understand is you've done boxing, you're a gym owner, you even did a fashion course. You even started bodybuilding. So you've done a lot. From what my understanding is you put yourself out there in a lot of situations so you can experience a lot of things. Is that right?
Yeah, look, I mean, I've gone through a lot of phases in life. Like I spent majority of my 20s in and out of jobs, trying to find my feet and passion because I never wanted to just work 9 to 5. It wasn't me. I was too creative for that. I was too dynamic. So it wasn't until my late 20s that I found my passion within coaching. And I thought in coaching, I could put a number of skills together and essentially really enjoy what I do. You know, if you don't wake up with a fire in your belly, change jobs. I understand that some people have families and just have bills to pay, but if you plan to do that for the rest of your life, you might as well work for something that brings purpose into your life. I also understand that not everyone gets or understands that, but you know, if the difference between living your best life and being mundane is reading a couple of books here or listening to a podcast every day, then invest into that.
100%. So what you said, so does coaching bring fire in your belly? Is that something that you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing. I'm going to really impact a lot of people. Is that what happens with your coaching?
Coaching just doesn't feel like a job. It's a conversation. Basically, I share my life's work with someone else every single day. You know, I get people that are pretty broken in some way, shape or form. And even if, like as a coach, yes, we are sort of up here in a sense in our clients' eyes, but we're all a little bit messed up and broken in some way, shape or form. We all need some form of pep up or tune up or, you know, I can't just stop reading books. I can't just stop fixing on my mindset because my brain will go back into survival mode, which is quite negative and limiting. So I too need to constantly invest into myself.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to say is even as a coach, we're not above anyone, you know. We're just miles ahead because we've been doing the work for a lot longer and a lot more consistently, and that's only the difference between us and everyone else.
Yeah. So what would you say, what does success mean to Amanda? What does success look like for you at the moment? Because it would have changed. Back in the day, success would have looked totally different to what it does now. So what does it look like for you right now?
So, I mean, we'll backtrack a little bit. So I've worked hard my whole life and I've had very, very little family support in the sense that my family never really said, job well done, you know, do you need help in your business? Do you want $5,000 to set up your business? They never really took an interest into my life, you know, and I always felt that, you know, my brother and sister got a hand, you know, whereas I didn't. And I guess I'm lucky in the sense I take that as a blessing because everything I've built, I've done it off my own hard work and I can own that. You know what I mean? Now with the exposure of the show, it's done is it's take what I've already done for a lot of years. But the difference now is I've got an army of followers and support behind me that I didn't have all these years. So it's I haven't had to change anything, which is fantastic. But what I want to tell everyone is basically, when you work hard, success is a matter of time. How long? Don't put a time frame on it. Don't put an end goal on it, but eventually it will come. I'm 35 on Thursday, and it's only been in the last 6 months or so, or a year, that I've really had the support I've needed. So imagine working half your life feeling like, when am I going to get the support I feel I deserve or need? It will come, but by golly, it will probably take some people a lot longer than others. Some are born into wealth. Others have to work a lot harder. But there's more satisfaction in knowing you've done it, right? And going, okay, well, yeah, God, it took me 17 years, but look at me now, you know?
I was going to say, what show? No. So Amanda was on Married at First Sight in Australia, which was an amazing show. But you're saying that you, in the last 6 months, it's happened, right? And in the last 15 years, you were doing it, you're pushing yourself through. But what made you push through? I mean, you've probably had moments where you were like, oh, it's just never going to happen. It's not going to do. And you said not to put a timeline to it. So what made you keep pushing through where you were probably the only one that knew that success was around the corner?
Look, I used to listen to a lot of good mentors online that, like, say, Gary Vaynerchuk, for example, was a huge one for me in the early stages of my business. I listened to about 2 or 3 of his podcasts a day, and he would just give me a lot of fire. And for those that don't know who Gary V is, Gary V basically come from Russian Soviet Union. His family moved to New Jersey in the 70s with, you know, half a shoe and a suitcase. They opened up a liquor store. He grew the business. So he worked in the business from about the age of 13. He missed out on a social life. So he's worked his whole life, took the business from 6 million up to a, I don't know, 300 million or $60 million business inside of 3 years. And then he opened up his own digital marketing agency. So now he's pretty much a business coach, gives all of his best business secrets out for free. And I looked at that and thought, like, that, now that's a coach. That's a real business owner. He hustles, and he basically, he sells the hustle, you know. He sells that whole, you want bling bling, you want big cars, you want a big house, work, you know.
Yeah.
And that, and I mean, I come from the school of hard knocks. Do you know what I'm saying? I was put at a massive disadvantage, and I had to fight my way out, because I knew if I didn't, I know what the other side of poor mental health looks like, and I didn't want to go back there. And I thought to myself, some of the greatest people in the world have come from a lot of disadvantage. And I thought, well, I'm just like that. And one day I will be this massive somebody that can make big impact. And I'm not even quite there yet. I'm kind of sort of there, but I know I've still got a long way to go for the amount of impact. Even though my impact has now reached all over the world from the show, thank the show, even though it was a crap experience, the impact I've made from that for the gay community, for example, has been profound. So I think, well, awesome. One goal's been made. It's taken me 34 years to get there. We'll see how long the next big thing takes. This is what I'm saying. It takes time.
Yeah. So essentially you would say success takes time and you just got to do it, and that's success. Is that right?
It just enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey for what it is. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, well, let's talk about today's topic about pain and pleasure, right? So the pain and pleasure principle is universal, and it controls most of our decisions, where we are conscious of it or not. The principle states that people are motivated to seek pleasure and avoid pain, the two controlling forces in all human behavior. So today's topic, you will do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. What does that mean for the audience that's listening and is like, I have no idea what this means. It makes no sense. What is it?
So a lot of people are addicted to the quick fix. So it's easier to basically drink alcohol and numb your emotions than it is to deal with the pain head on, get through a period of uncomfort, and then move past that. And what you do after that is what matters most. So, for example, I cannot stress enough how important it is to fuel your mindset. And by fueling your mindset, I mean pick up a book that will help make you learn something you've never quite understood or ever thought of. Switch the news off, for example, because what happens with the news is the news will basically train you how to think, but not think for yourself. So in our education system, in the news, everything like that, we are told what to think, but we're not taught to think for ourselves. And that's a problem because we don't know how to take direction. We don't know how to make decisions for us that are good for us, right? We're always told what to do, right? So when people have to make a decision for themselves to change, suddenly they get scared and they're like, what do I do? You know, so then they seek out coaches. I need you to tell me how to eat. I need a meal plan. I'll follow it to the letter. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, 100%.
So when you pick up a book that is profound and helps expand your thought process, people are like, oh, wow, fantastic. Now do that every day for the rest of your life and imagine how much you'll learn. Because if you and I were having this conversation 15 years ago, I would be sweating in my armpits, shaking, nervous as anything. And I'd need you to send me all the questions so that to make sure I know what to say. You know what I mean? But my confidence to talk to you now has come from following excellent leaders that have insane confidence. Yeah. Because we can look at those people and go, yeah, I want to be like that, but how do I model it? Through practice. How do you get good at public speaking? Do more public speaking. How do you get stronger? Train. How do you get healthier? Eat better food. Do it for the rest of your life. Don't do it over 6 or 12 weeks because it's not going to change your life forever.
100%. And I can agree with you on the point that a lot of people would do things for a quick fix. And I guess it's because they're not confident in what they're doing at the moment. They're looking for other things to kind of mask that, you know what I mean? Mask that not being confident and being like, oh, I'm just going to jump onto that. I'm going to jump onto that because if I go from something from start to finish, I have to be confident that that is going to work. And then I'm going to get an outcome from it. So yes, that's absolutely amazing what you said in regards to that. So what would you say is the role of emotions and logic when it comes to gaining pain or pleasure? What's the difference between the logic and the emotional part of your brain?
So with emotions, with logic, sometimes your brain will stop you from trusting your intuition. Okay? So one keeps you safe, the other one tells you the truth. Your intuition is never wrong. Your brain will always try to just keep you safe. So with emotions, for example, if something feels good to you, do more of it. Now, with that said, if you're an alcoholic...
That could be dangerous for some people.
Well, it could be dangerous. That's right. It could be dangerous because if you're an alcoholic, let's just say, and you enjoy drinking, but you've got to look at the logic. Is that actually bringing you the life that you want? Chances are it's not. Okay? If you're exercising and it's hard work, right? Think about how you feel after the workout and how it's actually improving your state of emotion, your state of confidence, your physical appearance, the way you eat and how it forces you to make changes within your lifestyle. Now, I'd rather that than numbing the emotion any day. That doesn't fix anything, yeah? So people need to do the hard work. Like training is physically hard. It's time consuming, right? But it doesn't need to be seen as though, it's like, I can't be bothered training. People need to attach the emotional reward to the hard work. And if once they blend the two, right, the journey becomes that much more enjoyable.
So do you think a lot of individuals are not training physically and mentally their mind because their logic is stopping them?
Well, I think it's habitual. It's what they're used to. You know, like if you don't train and people say I don't have the motivation, look, fair enough.
Yeah.
You don't have the motivation because you're not used to it. It's not a habit for you. So forming those habits in the early stages of training and eating well, that's the hardest part. And people think that they're going to instantly be motivated in the first few months, you know. They might be motivated for 4 hours and then realize that it's actually hard work and go, well, hang on a minute, why am I doing this? And that's where a good coach will come along and go, well, a really good coach will work on your mindset as well as the physical and the nutritional part of it and go, well, what pain are you trying to get away from now? Like what stops you? What hurts you? Because we need to use that to remind you of why you're actually doing this.
Yeah. So it's kind of like finding out their why. Is that correct? Finding out why they're wanting to be fitter or be healthier or, you know.
Correct.
Yeah. So in regards to physical training and emotional training, because from what you've said, it seems like emotional training is similar to physical training. Would you say that they have similar components?
Well, they both require work. You know, I mean, emotional training. If you're feeling fit and healthy, and you are less stressed, you'll be less emotional. You know, exercise helps with stress reduction. It helps even out your blood pressure. It helps releasing endorphins, and those sort of things help with stress reduction. And when we're less stressed, we make better decisions. We are more relaxed. So the two go hand in hand. And also our eating is directly linked with our mental health. So because we have neuropathways which run from our stomach into our brain, so certain foods, like certain processed foods, will actually put you in a more depressive state than eating more healthy whole food. So that's the other thing too. So it's basically this triangle of health, you know, fitness, mindset, nutrition. One sort of can't work without the other.
100%. I saw a meme the other day. You can't out-train a horrible diet.
Yes. Correct.
I absolutely love that. But yeah, you're 100% right with food impacting the mind. I mean, the vagus nerve, the gut-brain axis, it's all connected. It's all combined together. And exercise helps with anxiety dramatically. It's one of the key things that's been put in research papers all over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, so look, I've heard you say previously it's key to find out how you operate as a person before you do anything, before you open up a business, before you start training, before any of those things. So what does that mean, and how do you actually find out how you operate? So anyone who's listening at the moment, the audience goes, well, what do I do and how do I find out how I operate? I have no idea where to start. What would you say to them?
Do something. Just do anything. You know, so I've had about 50 jobs for people that don't know. Okay. So I've tried a lot of things, failed and succeeded in other areas, but I've realized what I like and what I don't like. So people need to stop getting so hung up on, I got to find my sole purpose at the age of 19. Well, no, you need to just make sure you can get up out of bed at the age of 19 and not worry what you need to do for the rest of your life. Go and do 1,000 courses and then realize what you want to do. You know, because like my mum always said to me, you are a Jackie of all trades and a master of none, right? And this was obviously going back when I had my hand in so many pies and I'd do this course, start something, wouldn't finish it. But that's because I didn't find my purpose. You know, the penny dropped for me when I started training, because at the age of 23, I found my cure for depression and anxiety, right? So, you know, I can look on 12 years later and go, well, I'm still at it. I'm still training. But it takes time and practice and trying multiple things to know what your purpose is, to know who you are.
So it's as key it is to find out what you love. The bigger key is to find out what you actually don't love and what you don't want to do. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So wow, 50 jobs, that is a lot, isn't it? But I guess
it's not 50, but I've done, I like to exaggerate stuff, but yeah. That's European in me.
I know. They always say you double everything, isn't it?
Yeah,
You've been like
that's
3 hours, it's only an hour.
Yeah, that's right. It's exactly right. So yeah.
I love it. All right. Well, so investing time into understanding who you are when you have nothing, no car, no family, no job, no money, and no success. I've also heard you talk about that. That is pretty deep. So understanding who you are when you have absolutely nothing, and this can go back into spirituality, into Buddhism, into things like that. So you've spoken about this before, it's a deep understanding of who you are, but how does one find out who you truly are? A lot of people go, I am, let's say a finance person. I am a father. I am a mother. I am a sister. So you always connect yourself to a person or an item or things like that. So how do you find out who you truly are on a deep level without anything?
So usually a traumatic experience will help you identify who you are, okay? A lot of people who have careers identify as that career, not as a person. So what happens when your career goes belly up, or what happens when your house burns down? Like at any point, so I used to be a hairdresser in my early 20s. I wanted to go up within the hairdressing world, and I applied for Melbourne's best salon. They gave me the false intention that I would be potentially a good fit for the salon, did a trial. They turned around and said, your skill set's not quite there. Okay, why don't you tell me at the interview? So anyway, then tried to apply for other salons and doors kept shutting on me. So I'd really attached my identity to being this amazing, kick-ass, creative hairdresser to then going, well, I think I've done my dash in this industry. What now? And I felt lost. I felt really lost for a while. And then I had interim jobs. And then I said, nah, that's when I, a few years later became a coach. But even being a coach in the first couple of years, I was so absorbed into running the business and making it what it is today that I identified only as a coach. And I thought, well, what happens when and if this business is no longer? Who am I then? So honestly, the other turning point for me in life was going on the show. So the show forced me to just literally take a mental break from my life as I knew it. So I was partnered prior to the show, and all I knew was her, work, and if I had enough energy, we would go and do something on the weekend, right? Socialize, whatever. But my social life wasn't great because I was a workaholic. And I realized that I was becoming increasingly unhappy with life because it wasn't filling up my cups. Yeah, it was filling up my bank account, but when you have no social life and you got no energy on the weekends, what good is all that money, right? So the show, whilst it was a disastrous experience, was a fantastic turning point for my life personally. And I was able to settle some personal things with family issues I had, and also realize that at any point I felt whole and I understood who I was. Because when you got cameras on you during a reality show, one thing my mum said to me was, always think twice about what you're about to say on that show. She goes, because you can't take that back and you don't know what they're going to edit as, yeah? We do hours and hours of footage and they show you this much of this much, yeah? So in the back of my head, I had to really think twice, almost rehearse at times what I was going to say, because I thought I can make an impact every time I open my mouth. I can make an impact here, right? Surely enough, I did, yeah? And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not a coach. Coaching is what I do. I'm not a bodybuilder. Bodybuilding is what I do. I'm Amanda, and I'm supremely confident in myself as an individual. I'm also kind and warm-hearted. So it's understanding your principles as an individual, regardless of what you do for work. So for those who don't know, I've now gone from one coaching business to 2 coaching businesses, a fashion consignment business, radio, an entertainment reporter, and also a health supplement, all in the space of 6 months. if any of those get taken away from me, I'm still Amanda. I'm not attached to what I do, right, anymore, because I know who I am because of a traumatic experience. I chose to understand what my strengths were and fix all the bullshit, right, going into all of that and through that and now out of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And I think that it's amazing that you took those traumatic also experiences in your life and you twisted them around to take the positive out of it. And now that you understand, any time you open your mouth, you can have an impact. I think that is absolutely amazing. And I mean, me doing these podcasts for a while and things like that, that is the main reasons why I am opening my mouth. And I want to encourage others to open their mouth because they can have an impact. And like you said, to turn off the news, because you don't want to be fed what you're thinking. You want to think by yourself and you want to identify yourself. You don't want the media to identify you. So I think that is absolutely brilliant what you said there. And I think a lot of people who are listening to this right now, they need to sit down and actually figure out who they are as an individual without any distractions. And I mean, for you, it took going on Married at First Sight. So if anyone wants to go on Married at First Sight or The Bachelor or Big Brother, you may find out who you are.
Hey, if nothing else, you know, one thing a psychic said to me last year, he was one of Melbourne's best psychics and waited 9 months to see him.
Wow.
And the first thing that came out of his mouth was something which no psychic's ever said to me. And I was like, this guy's going to be good. And he did say, your grandmother, who's passed on, said, did you know Amanda's going to be on TV, right? So this is when I'd applied for the show, but didn't know I'd been on. So this is about 2 months before I found out I was going to get on. So she obviously knew it was all going to happen, right? He said to me, whether it works or not, even if it's a disaster, you'll be given a platform. So I always kept that in the back of my head. And that's why I held myself as well as I did throughout that. Because people would message me and go, I don't know how you handled that whole situation. I would have knocked her out. I would have this. I would have said this. And it's like, yeah, I would have said that too if I was a viewer. But when you're on the other end of it and you know that anything that comes out of this is about to be witnessed by millions of people around the country, you do think twice about what you say. Because once you say it, you can't always take it back, right? So we got a lot of impact with our words. And we do need to be mindful at times because execution is king. If you can execute a profound message, fantastic. But if you don't think twice about what you say, right, if you can't back it with some form of experience, wisdom, fact, you know, you sound a little silly. Going back to what you said about watching the news as well, the news doesn't teach you to be a critical thinker. It basically forces you to go, oh, yes, it must be true because it's come from the news. Well, no. The media are known for twisting things, and I can tell you firsthand, being in the public eye, right? They will take what they know of you and they will twist it for clickbait to get you to watch. Yeah? So when I did my powerlifting competition a couple of years ago, my coach, who comes from an evidence-based background, taught me to be a critical thinker. And what that means is basically do not believe the first thing you see. At least go to maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 other sources and make sure that there's a consistent pattern of information with what you first got so that it's not just Chinese whispers.
Yeah, 100%. So you got to think with your own head and action through there. Yeah, I think you said that well. So in regards to understanding who you are, and I believe you now understand who you are without anything, I wanted to find out identity, right?
Yeah.
How important do you think identity is in an individual's life as a business professional? Because a lot of business individuals listen to this and, you know, they are business owners of a cafe. They are business owners of a marketing business. They are business owners of something. So it's an identity that they have. And I know we've spoken a bit about that. But how important do you think it is to identify as something? Do you think there are benefits and disadvantages to that?
Identify as a business owner or a person? Is that what you mean?
So identify as, so identify as like a coach, identify as a female, identify as gay, identify as those things. How important do you think that is in life?
I think it's important not to get married to those identities because, like I said, you are not, like I even knew this at the age of 21. Like when I came out to my mum and I said, I might like to hold hands with women at night. It doesn't mean it changes my personality, because I could have a boyfriend tomorrow, be the same person, and you would look at me very differently. You know, so people get married to identity, okay? You get caught up in what, you know, you allow that identity to dictate who you are rather than you just knowing who you are, regardless of what uniform you choose to wear.
I think that's very important. So what are some practical tips for the audience to incorporate into their life, not to identify themselves and to actually find out who they are? So you've spoken all about it, and the audience must be like, oh my gosh, I agree. I agree 100%. I'm going to turn off the news. I'm not a nurse. I'm not an ambulance person. I'm not a police officer. I'm not a business owner. I want to find out who I am. How do I do that? What are some practical tips that they can just, you know, after this podcast, after listening to it, they can go home, get a pen and paper out. What can they do to help them identify, or not identify, but help them understand who they truly are on a raw level?
All right. So, I mean, finding good mentors is key, I think. So I'm not going to tell you who to listen to. I'm going to tell you who I listen to and why I listen to them.
Beautiful.
Or have over the years. So I follow a relationship coach called Coach Corey Wayne and have done so since 2013. And he helped me. His book is titled How to Be 3% Man, right? So his information is for free on YouTube, or you can buy the book. I've bought 2 of his books. I'm listening to another book at the moment, and I've consumed all of his relationship videos, which are spot on for the most part. It's all about the common situations of where we go wrong in relationships and how to overcome that, so that you're basically seen as the alpha in any situation, business, relationships. So you become the minority, most of what people are not, which gives you a very big advantage in life, right? So here's one mentor who I still listen to. So it's not about getting a long list of mentors. It's probably about finding 3 or 5 that you can keep going back to that really resonate with you. Another one would be Gary Vee for the business end of it. And every now and then, if I feel like I need a bit of a tune-up or a bit of fire, I go back to Gary Vee. Yeah. If I am questioning relationships, I go to Coach Corey Wayne. If I'm feeling like pretty down and out, I'll go to Tony Robbins, okay, who's the coach of all coaches. Which is rare these days. So, but I love audiobooks. So I've always got a list of audiobooks, and good thing about them is I can go for a walk and listen. I can clean the house and listen. So I can multitask, because we're women, we like to multitask.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad use of my time. It's a good use of my time. I can do other things. I can, you know, kill 2 birds with one stone essentially. And, it's great. And, you know, like I said, if you'd spoken to me many years ago, I just would look in the mirror and be like, I can't feel who I am. I can't feel the reflection looking back at me. And that's such a bad place to be when you feel so lost in yourself. You're like, I can't connect with this person. Whereas now I can stare in the world like a lion and go, I'm ready to eat you alive at any point. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm ready to attack at any point. I'm ready to come back, execute, have conviction in what I say, because I know myself so well. But make no mistake, I went through a world of pain to get here. Not that you would know that.
Yeah, I was going to say, a lot of individuals don't know what happens in the background to get things happening where you are now. When they see you talking and when you're making an impact, that's when they believe your journey started, because that's when they started seeing your journey. But that's not when your journey started. Your journey started ages ago before that. And you've worked every single day consistently to be where you are now, so you can have an impact. And I believe with practical notes, what you said now for those individuals that are listening is get yourself some mentors in different aspects of your life, spiritual mentor, a relationship mentor, a finance mentor, and that's key. A lot of us miss that financial aspect of our life. We think that financial is not important, or we push it aside, or we think we're greedy because we don't want it. But that's not true. And then other aspects like business mentor, health mentor. So it's not just one person that's going to tick all those boxes for you. Find out who you relate to. Like you said, I'm going to tell you who I'm listening to, not who to listen to. I love that. So do you have a finance or a health mentor in a sense?
I do, yeah. So it's a good point you actually raised that, because, I mean, I was brought up in the whole education system. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki is an excellent book for anyone to help you understand between the education system versus the business mentality. So I've always been a real born and bred entrepreneur, and not by my influence of my parents. My parents are very much... My dad was always a subcontractor. My mum was always 9 to 5 kind of person. Everyone in my business runs a business. And even though I don't talk to my family anymore, we all come from hard work. The only problem is that sometimes my dad would look at me and go, like, I'll never forget what he said to me. He goes, you know, this is a time where you've got to work hard. I said, is it? I said, no, this is a time where I work smart. I said, because I don't want to kill myself and get to 40 and hate my life, because all I did was work, right? And I don't need to buy a house to impress people I don't like anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? So you got to have love for the process, because tomorrow may not come. You could be run over tomorrow. So every day is important, not 10 years' time when you can retire. I'll tell you now, I never want to retire. I'm happy to work for the rest of my life because I enjoy it.
100%.
Gives you purpose. Do you know what I'm saying? So
I love that. And you see a lot of people once they retire, they don't make it a year or 2 years, unfortunately, and they leave the world because they don't have a purpose anymore, because that was their identity, their job. So I agree with 100%.
Correct.
Never going to retire. 100%.
There's also another book as well. I'm trying to just quickly...
Do you think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with the business mindset of earning money?
I don't think entrepreneurs do, because I think they're go-getters. Like, I think a lot of millionaires were uneducated, lots, because they had a thought, they put a thought in their head and they went for it. And that's the difference between just being so methodical and just taking risks and making, perfecting things along the way. So the education system keeps you small, and it also caps your income, and this is what Rich Dad, Poor Dad will teach you, is that the other quadrant is to look at also being in debt is not necessarily a bad thing either, because it can help you generate endless amounts of income. So that's why lots of rich people have a lot of assets, okay, which puts them in a financial advantage, and that may not be for everybody, but the thing is, what it comes back to is how much money do you actually need to be happy, right? And I think it's scientifically proven that after $80,000 a year, you are no more happier, yeah? So you can earn, even if you are a YouTuber and you make $50K a year reviewing toothpaste, like, isn't that more rewarding than working in a 9 to 5, banging at your head, watching the time, earning $80K a year?
Yeah, not too sure where toothpaste came from, but yes, I get
Random as anything. But, this is the way of the world now, where we've got this digital platform to use, and we can do stupid things and earn stupid amounts of money for it, but be so much happier. So we've got options, and people need to explore them more.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. Yeah, so love that you've got mentors and coaches in all different fields, and you yourself are a coach, because a lot of individuals think, oh, coach, that's it. Like you said, you've hit that top here. You look at down everyone, I'm higher than everyone else, but that is not what a coach is. A coach is level as anyone else, is going to teach you, is going to help you out, hold your hand in a sense, and every day they are getting coached from other individuals. I love that.
Yeah.
Put that concept together.
Coaches need coaches. Yeah, we don't just hit a ceiling and that's it. We stop teaching ourselves. We have to keep learning too.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So what is your secret to gaining pleasure and avoiding pain?
I do what's hard so that what's hard becomes easy. you know, and training is always hard. It's always a challenge. I'm always pushing myself, but I look in the mirror an hour later and go, God damn, I look great. You know, I look sexy. I get biofeedback from people constantly. You look amazing. I wish I had your drive. You know, your body's incredible. So I'm now in this 1% of population that, you know, people will look at me and go, that girl's got it all. Mate, I will work for that every day of the week, anytime, to get that sort of feedback in life. You know, we will do more for praise than a price rise in our jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feed off the praise I never got from my parents. Does that make sense? You know, and maybe that's where that drive deep down comes from, is like, well, I feel good all the time. I never get sick, right? And then on top of me feeling good, I'm getting constant compliments. Do you think I'm going to give that up anytime soon? No, I'm not.
Yeah. But it's good that you turned it around. Do you know what I mean? The negative aspect, well, I don't know if you want to call it negative or anything, of not getting that from when you were from your parents and then getting it from others. It's good that you turned it around. A lot of people just stay stuck in that, and that's all they focus on. So I love that you've turned that around.
100%. I know I'm not special. I'm not overly talented. You know, I just worked really, really hard for a long time, and now I've got all these skills. You know, I can sing, I can dance, I can airbrush, I can
juggle.
Mate, I can do a lot, and people freak out. They're like, oh my God, can you dance as well? You know, no, because I was a boxer, so I'm coordinated. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much I've done in my life because, like I said, I tried it, loved it for 2 years, and then I moved on from it. And that's okay. You can have hobbies, do them for a few years until you get over it, and go to the next thing. And just, that's what life's about. I encourage people, don't stay in a workplace longer than 2 years at a time. Like, move around so that you change your environment, you stay engaged, and you love what you do. The minute you stop loving what you do, or it's becoming a real, like, there's nothing worse than having an anxiety attack going to work. I remember feeling like that. I haven't felt that way for over 5 years, you know? And I started a business from zero, from no money. In fact, I was on my last $2,000 of savings, and, you know, I remember sitting in the gym office at the time when I started my PT career, and he said, Amanda, if you follow what I teach you, he goes, I've no doubt that you will succeed in this business. And I worked day and night for 3 months without, maybe I had 2 days off in 3 months. And I maxed out my business in that time. And I'll tell you, I was the envy of the gym. Everyone, I think most people hated me because of it, the other PTs. So I had to work through a lot of adversity coming into the gym. And I was like, why is everyone, I didn't understand why people hated my success. And I was like, how nasty are people? You know, and that's just another key message for people too. People are going to hate on your success. They want you to do well, but not better than them, you know. But again, I'm now in a fortunate position where everyone around me, because I want them in my life, they all want me to succeed. Everyone's pushing me up now, going, you know, I've got friends in high places now that really want to see me succeed within media, within fashion, within coaching. I've got those team of people, but my darling, listen to me. I struggled for years through haters, through people who doubted me, everything. I would cry some mornings driving to work. I'd be like, why am I doing this? And then I'd put on Gary Vee and go, yes, you know, he fucking struggled for many years on a shit wage, but look where he is now, multi-millionaire in empowering people every day at the age of 44, not 20. Don't think you're going to know who you are at 20. Forget it, okay? Just forget that. Do so many things and let everyone call you a jack of all trades, because one day you're going to prove them wrong, yeah? And don't work for their appraisal, because you're not going to get it. Take it from me, you're not going to get it, all right? What you need is your own approval. When you own who you are, that's when the army of followers come following you, not before then. Everyone tests you and go, what makes you better than me? what makes you more special than me? Let's see what you're made of, right? And then when you prove them wrong after 34 years, they go, look what this girl achieved off her own hand, mate, off her own hand. And you know what? Now I can say I can stick it right up them after 35 years of blood, sweat and tears.
Yeah. And you heard it here. That's it. And the thing is, it all goes back to knowing who you are, isn't it? You just said it just comes back to knowing who you are and working hard. I love it. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. So to finish off, I like to ask all my guests, as this is the Natural Health Podcast, what is your best kept natural health hack? What is something that Amanda does that not a lot of people know that is natural, and it's something that just makes you be amazing and optimal health?
So I think sleep's incredibly important. I think getting in our sisterhood course, so we teach our girls the armor up and the armor off, and it's about having a good sleep and wake routine. And I think that is highly, highly undervalued in life. It's natural. It doesn't cost you a thing. What I've added to my life as a supplement, which is natural, is Kyani, which is one of the businesses I run. So it's got a number of products which you've reviewed for me, which I think has worked wonders for myself as well. It's also improved my already good sleep. It has improved my mental clarity because I have so much going on in a single day. I love the variety in my day, but it can be mentally taxing because there's so much happening at once. So I've got to be able to transition from coach to consignment fashion business to Kyani to the sisterhood back to Divine Physiques, all in a single day. And then I've got my DMs which blow up all day long on Instagram, First world problems, but it's energy, it's taxing on the energy just the same. So I'm very thankful for that. But I think sleep is something that everyone can improve on.
100%. And how are you getting your sleep on point?
So as I suggested, having that routine in place. So I basically have reminders on my phone. By 9:30, I get sent a reminder to remind me to switch off my device. I read a book or I have a shower, then I'll read a book in bed. And now I'm not perfect with it. I'm not going to make out like it works every night because I get distractions. But I try and set that routine, and I've been at it now for the last few months and still not perfect with it. So again, habit formation does take a while, but having that intention about wanting to change it is more important as well. So if we strive for progress, not perfection, eventually the habits will come.
Yeah, perfect. And we're also in winter, and that's why a lot of people talk to me and they go, oh my gosh, Michaela, I'm sleeping so much more. It's totally normal. It's winter. Yeah. We are meant to be sleeping more. We're meant to be hitting even 10 hours for some individuals. And those high performing individuals are like, oh my gosh, like I'm waking up at 8 o'clock instead of 6. It is okay. It's winter. So yes, I love that you sleep. I love that sleep. You believe sleep's number one because 100% it helps out with your health, to get optimal health, to achieve your dreams, to achieve your goals. So now all the audience has heard a lot about you and they're like, oh my gosh, like I totally love Amanda. I love what she's about. I want to learn how to coach with her physically. I want to learn how to coach with her mentally. What can they do? How do they get in touch with you? What can you offer them?
Yeah. So people can reach out to me. I think DMs on Instagram is probably the easiest way. So I've got 2 platforms. I've got Divine Physiques Coaching, one word. And I've also got amanda.m.micallef, which is where my main profile is on Insta. You can shoot me a DM and we can take the conversation from there. But basically, I offer some online coaching programs. My mindset program is one of my key programs at the moment, which is all online. I've got clients all over the world for that. And I've also got at-home programs too. So given that gyms are shut down, doesn't impact everyone, but we're impacted here in Melbourne at the moment. So for any Melbourne listeners, please hit me up for an at-home gym program. I also do offer face-to-face and Zoom sessions, even if you just want a singular session for nutrition. You want to know how to set up, for example, a plan around how to eat, because I'm not a registered dietitian, but what I can do is I can look at your habits and I can give you some pointers and educate you on a protein, a carbohydrate, a fat, and how to blend it together and make meal plans for yourself, rather than going, well, tell me exactly what to eat. Well, no, because in a week's time, you'll probably be bored of it. So now we've got to educate you on the whole picture, right? So there's that. I've got the Sisterhood program, which is with Black Dog Coaching Group, and that's a 17-week program. We cover mindset, fitness, nutrition, but it's all geared towards mental health. So it's eating for mental health, thinking for mental health, training to feel better, which naturally improves your mental health. So that's it in a nutshell with the coaching aspect.
Oh, beautiful. Amazing. And I've seen on your coaching on Instagram that your coaching videos are absolutely amazing. So if you guys want to jump on them, she has a lot of amazing information on how to train your lower body, upper body videos, how to set up and so forth. It's absolutely amazing to get some insights there. So thank you for sharing all that information with the audience today. I bet you they've got so much value from it. I thank you for your time. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me. Maybe we can do this again soon.
Let's go. We've come to the end of the magical podcast interview for the listeners. So thank you for joining us at the Natural Health Podcast. And remember, the missing link between failure and success is your health.